Hi, I'm Yanni from Entomal Biotech. You're now watching Get to Know. So I'm Yanni, the co-founder and chief commercial officer of Entomal Biotech. I actually came from a mechanical engineering background, but sooner or later, after I discovered about myself, especially in my 20s, I started venturing into healthcare at first, and then now in the environmental kind of sustainability revolving business. As people sometimes might know me as the fly lady, we breed flies and turn waste into wealth. And the flies that we use specifically is named as black soldier fly, or BSF in short. So by using this black soldier flies, we can turn any type of organic waste, meaning to say our food waste or any agricultural waste, into sustainable animal protein and make it into animal feed, as well as organic fertilizers. So this is ultimately helping us to achieve a circular economy, helping us to drive down carbon emission, but also at the same time enhance food security for Malaysia. So I think the main problem, especially that we're looking to solve, that all three co-founders are truly passionate about, is to enhance the environmental sustainability. So in Malaysia, every day we're generating about 17,000 tons of food waste, which is being sent to landfill. And actually food waste as a whole, if we were to calculate the carbon emission from around the world, this would actually make up to be the third largest emission contributor, right after just US and China. If we're talking about ESG right now, especially with all the conferences that we're attending, especially with how Bursa has also started to ask all the PLCs and MNCs to list down all their ESG sustainability related reporting. This is where we can bring in our solution to help them manage their waste more sustainably, but also at the same time help them to align with their ESG reporting goals. So by using this, not only are we addressing significant carbon emission issues, we're also helping to turn it into resources, we're also turning it into money, meaning to say our animal feed from the downstream products as well as the fertilizers will be of great use, especially in the agriculture industry. So this is where we really see, by taking what we usually known as a waste, literally close eyes, dumb, we don't care, but now we have that technology that can transform it into something that is useful for our human society. So a little bit about the backstory of Entomal Biotech. My CEO, my mastermind, CTO as well, who's the main tech person in the company, is he started off as a 15-year wastewater engineer, and that's where he discovered this little black soldier fly larvae thriving in the wastewater streams. So that's when he started to do a lot of research, do Google search, and even flew over to US to learn from the black soldier fly. And that's where we started accumulating all this engineering knowledge as well as the technology when it comes to the breeding and rearing of the black soldier fly. And then a few years later, when me, Thomas and Vic met each other, we know that all of us share the same passion, especially when it comes to environmental sustainability. And we did a little bit of analysis seeing how we all have very diverse strengths. Hence, we decided to start a company that could really bring impact, not just for Malaysia, but also looking even wider around the world. So as a 4-year-old business, we've definitely encountered a lot of challenges, especially in the early days. When we told people about black soldier flies back then, not a lot of people truly cared about it. When we talked about the importance of environmental sustainability or offering our service as something that is more sustainable, no one really cares about it. But I think right now, especially after COVID, when ESG is becoming a central discussion topic around all these PLCs, not just NGOs, but also people who are able to pay for services revolving around sustainability, I think that timing has really shifted. But I think it also came from the fact that in the past few years, we've really planted a lot of seeds to help people get to know about us, get to know about what black soldier fly does. And I think over the past few years, technology advancements have been something that we kept on innovating, and as a way to help us keep ahead of all the other industry players as well. So these are some of the two main challenges that we encounter. And it's not to say that we don't have these challenges right now, because I think we're still slowly getting that awareness and exposure when it comes to black soldier flies and what it does to our environment and what it does to us as a civilization as a whole. So looking back into how our technology helped our Earth, our mother planet as a whole. First of all, because black soldier fly itself has a very short lifespan, but they exist in the nature, just like where we are right now. So they exist in the nature to actually help us to consume any types of unwanted or organic waste. And our technology really is to harvest that special power that nature has given us, this special gift, and make it into something that is scalable and also commercializable. So that's what we have been doing, and which is why when it comes to the technology that we try to innovate within our organization, it's always really looking into the deep focus of how we can breed the flies better, how we can rear these larvae better, giving them the most optimized environment and giving them the most abundant food for them to consume as they grow. Other parts, by transforming this waste, we're also essentially driving down a lot of carbon emission by preventing waste being sent to landfill. But also at the same time, after that process, we're generating two valuable resources that can be sold to our agriculture partners. So meaning to say, we will slowly be seeing more and more insect protein coming in as an animal feed alternative. This will not only help us to, in a way, enhance or improve the immune system of the animals that we feed, say for example fish or chicken. Essentially, this will help us to generate two resources, which is the high protein insect animal feed. What the animal feed does essentially, especially if we look at chickens, a lot of times chickens are injected with antibiotics. And this antibiotics ultimately will lead to human having that antibiotics resistance. If someday you get infected and doctors trying to give you antibiotics, your body's resistant to it because of the chicken we consume. But by introducing insect protein, the use of antibiotics can be decreased because of a special property that we get from the insect protein, which is what we call as antimicrobial peptides. A bit too technical here, but this will in turn help to enhance the safety and health for human beings, but also at the same time for Malaysia itself, really looking into reducing some of the import bill that is currently heavily reliant on soy meal and corn meal. And the second resource that we generate here is the fertilizers. And in fact, with so many chemical fertilizers out there, we are also trying to get more formulations that can combine chemical and organic fertilizers as a way to help enhance our agriculture in Malaysia. So I think these are some of the impact that we can see, especially throughout this process. But I think ultimately what we really want to do is to be able to drive down carbon emission, help our environment to be greener, but also at the same time put food on our table that is healthy, that is highly nutritious. So how we see ourselves in the next 10 years, very clear. We want to be able to treat 2,000 tons of food waste every single day. Right now, we're at the phase where we are fundraising to set up the first plant to treat 15 tons of food waste every day. By setting up 2,000 tons, to put it into scale, this is equivalent to what we generate in Selangor every day alone. So if we were to capture Selangor, all the food waste that we generate here every single day, that's how we can really drive impact already. We were just calculating how much carbon emission that we can prevent. About 1.5 million tons of carbon emission that we can prevent by treating 2,000 tons of food waste every single day in just a year. So this can really contribute significantly for Malaysia as a nation to help achieve our net zero mission, one thing, but also at the same time with the conversion of waste into resources, that will significantly help us to contribute into the food security of Malaysia. So we see we are kind of killing two birds with one stone with the technology that we have here at Entomal. So 2,000 tons of food waste is our goal for the next 10 years. How we will realize this mission, first of all, we will set up the first plant, which is treating 15 tons per day. Later on, we will also be looking at partnering up with more private companies or F&B factories or shopping malls to have a larger scale of food waste treatment leading up to our 2,000 tons by the end of the decade. So I think one key thing to be aware of as startup founders is to be really clear about the problem that we're solving, how good your solution is, but also at the same time being able to articulate that story in a way that people can understand very clearly, in a way that people can see the potential in. I've seen some of our other pitches in previous accelerators as well. We have a lot of great solutions, but if people aren't able to understand your story clearly, they won't be able to understand it in a second, third step. So having the ability to articulate or tell your story in a way that people can understand easily or in a very interesting way will be something that can lead to a lot of doors open, especially in the scale-up process.